The Netherlands, a nation that every EU4 player knows as the playing toll nation above all else. And whilst that is true, I also believe that the Netherlands is a really powerful colonial nation and of course the chattiest of trade nations. That's why today we're continuing our Dutch campaign. We just formed the Netherlands previously. We started building up the VOC India man ship that offers 33% extra cannons, 25 extra ship trade power modifier, and can transport units. So these ships are absolutely insane. We're gonna have to build a whole bunch of them. I think our force limit right now is up to 32, so we're gonna do that as we get more money. Our current financial situation is as shown over here. We have 400 development in just the Dutch provinces. That's it. We've devved these provinces up like crazy, and we're gonna continue to dev these provinces because we are still playing toll, but we're also establishing our colonial empire. We're gonna be going ahead and we're gonna continue our colonization efforts. After we finish up in the Gold Coast, we're gonna snake our way all the way into the Asian bits and even have some colonies around the New World itself. Maybe even do a little bit of a historical footprint of the Dutch, since as probably a lot of you know, the Dutch were a significant colonial empire in the 1600s, just as they came out of the 80-year war, which is essentially the war that brought about the independence of the United Provinces, or the Netherlands really. If we get 5,000 likes in the first few days after this video is out, I'm gonna do a brand new playing toll guide for 1.35 explaining in detail the meta for it and everything you guys need to know about it. And hey, if you enjoy the content, consider subscribing. I'm trying to reach 200,000 subs by the end of August, which is fast approaching. I'm kind of losing hope on it, so do me a solid, hit that subscribe button, and in exchange I promise to deliver only quality content from now on. To give a little bit of a better overview of everything, we have 76 innovativeness, which means we get minus 7.6 or power cost. So that means every single mana interaction we have costs 7.6% less, which includes stabbing up, deving provinces, lowering the war exhaustion, reducing inflation, or whatever else needs be doing. Another thing about the Dutch is that we also have the special Dutch trade fleet's naval doctrine that offers ship trade power plus colonial range, and we also hired a colonial range advisor, which is pretty much why we managed to reach all of these bits here from the Dutchlands. We don't have any other colonies, that is it. We managed to get to the African bits all the way from the port of Bruges, which would be the closest to that area. We also have a lot of negative relations with the HRE because we've taken some provinces previously. Trade-wise, we have 82% of the English Channel, which means we're earning 72 ducats right now. The English still have 14% because obviously they own a ton of provinces in the Dutch Channel, but we'll fix that soon, not to fear. We'll maybe split them up a little bit, divide and conquer, as they say, right? And then make the divided nations give us their trade power, if you know what I'm saying. This way we're still technically playing toll, but we're also getting all the trade power we need to get. Of course, because of the English Channel, we will, being our primary trade node, we will be filtering in from the trade world and from the Asian bits as much trade into the English Channel as possible. Right now it's by far the richest, 52 ducats compared to 27 in Sevilla and 32 in Genoa is a significant difference. I mean, holy schnappledoops, boys. Our main way of increasing our trade power, aside from the provinces, is of course the trade ships. We got 77 of these bad boys, which we need to upgrade some of them, and we're gonna replace a huge bunch of them with the newly established India man ship. Once we've actually, we're gonna set these guys up right now. Buildings wise, we finished building the courthouse in every single province. We will do the same when it comes to the workshop. We actually are in the process of building the workshops right now as we speak. Oh no, sorry, these are textile manufactories. Wait, I do have the workshop in every province, right? Why is it not showing that? It should show blue, but that's weird. Okay. Training fields, of course, we will be building. So we have right now the barracks everywhere. We shall upgrade the barracks to training fields. This also, once needed, will upgrade it. We're building the manufactories, especially in the textile or cloth provinces and the iron provinces, because that's where most of the income is going to be coming from. Paper and glass, of course, are really valuable also, but I'm not sure we can build that up just just yet. I think we need to discover admin tech 16, which is in a little bit of time. Right now our admin tech is at 11, and that's us being ahead of time with the technology also. Printing press is going to be spawning in a few years, so in order to make sure that we get the highest chance of getting that printing press spawn in our lands, we're basically building a manufactory in all the provinces that we can build a manufactory in. When we formed the Netherlands, we also left the HRE, so any wars against the HRE means a war against the HRE Emperor. So in order to deal with that, there's a few options. Either just fight the Emperor every single time, or we can just dismantle the HRE by allying the electors and going to war with the Emperor and the rest of the electors that we didn't ally. So we're gonna do that. We're gonna improve relations with them. We have significant bad relations right now. Aggressive expansion, unlawful territory, annexed a member of the HRE, broken alliance. So it's gonna take a while, but we're not in any sort of a rush, since right now our primary goal is to just establish ourselves in the New World and the Asian world, of course. Speaking of, one thing that not many people know about is that the reason the Dutch became a colonial empire is because of events that happened many years prior to the 1600s. Let me back this up a little bit, okay? In 1453, the Ottoman Turks managed to consolidate their rule around the Mediterranean, well, the Eastern Mediterranean, by destroying what's left of the Byzantine Empire and conquering Constantinople. One thing that not many people are aware of is that Constantinople was the primary source of goods from Asia into Europe. Now, when the Ottoman Turks took over Constantinople, the European nations could not trade with the Asian bits of the world unless they had to go through the Ottomans, and they imposed very high taxations, and they gave out special privileges like the Venetians had for a period, monopoly on trading with the Ottomans and then trading with the rest of Europe, and then that was cancelled. So it was a pretty tricky affair. Suffice to say, the Europeans were looking for an alternative to that, and one of those European nations, the Portuguese, eventually made their way to the New World. Some other explorers eventually made their way to the Asian parts via the Cape of Good Hope, namely the southern tip of the African continent, charting new routes on the oceans, not having to abide by the Ottomans, Mamluks, or any of the other big empires in the eastern part of the world, and in the process the Portuguese getting ridiculously rich, having themselves a monopoly on trade between Europe and Asia, with the port of Lisbon becoming one of the most important trade cities after 1517. We all know that the struggle to find new ways to reach Asia also made the Castilians, well, the Spaniards and other people discover the New World in the process, because they thought if they just sail straight that way, they're going to reach Asia. They were not wrong. The difference is that they couldn't sail straight that way because the New World was in the way of that. But hey, they were off by a few thousand kilometers, right? And a continent in between. The Portuguese, you have to remember, eventually became a part of the Iberian Union in the 1580s. Not sure exactly what year, around the 1580s. And because the Castilians, or the Spanish crown, was at war with the Dutchlands, which were rebelling in the 80 Years' War, the Portuguese basically issued a ban on trading with the lowlands. And because the lowlands could not trade for Asian spices that they definitely enjoyed just as much as they enjoy modern Amsterdam brownies, if you know what I'm saying, they decided that, hey, we have one of the largest, best trading fleets in Europe. Why do we have to wait around for the Portuguese to trade stuff for us? So they stole the trade route plans from the Portuguese. That's right, they went full on Romanian, and they used the trade routes that the Portuguese had, secret trade routes, and in the process made their own way to Asia, with the earliest conquests in Asia being those of the Spice Islands, namely the Banda Islands as they're called, since they had the only parts of the world that traded in nutmeg, and the Dutch wanted a monopoly on nutmeg. The Banda residents said sure, but then they also traded with other people, so then the Dutch were like, yo, we said you only trade nutmeg with us. You don't agree to that, so we're invading you. In the process, the Dutch killed a lot of people, enslaved a lot of people, and the result was the Banda Islands being the first Dutch East India Company possession in Asia, or one of the first anyway. Then they spread all over the place to form Formosa, which is modern Taiwan. They spread to the entirety of the Indonesian islands and so on. Of course, they also had colonies in the New World. New Netherlands being the most famous, I guess, with New York, which was called New Amsterdam, being the most important city of New Netherlands that eventually got conquered, of course, as we all know. But I digress. Let's get back to our game here and start building a lot of ships. The Indiaman ships, eh? Now, one thing to note is that because the Indiaman also act as transport ships, we're going to be deleting our actual transport ships. We don't need them. We can transport our troops with the Indiaman ships. And because it's weird for me to always call it the Indiaman ship, I'm going to call them Kevin. So from now on, you should know whenever I talk about Kevin, Kevin is the Indiaman ships, alright? Just saying. I'm also going to be selling that one Karak that I have since, again, I don't need heavy ships. If I do decide to go to war, I'll just build up a heavy fleet at that point when I do go to war, but I'm not going to war anytime soon, so we're fine for the time being. Let's also bring these guys back home here since we want to merge the fleets and we also want to upgrade the ones that need upgrading. Plus, we're going to send 3 of these bad boys with an explorer to actually explore the rest of the world because we haven't been doing too much exploring, to be fair, and we need to. Also, guys, remember, every single manufactory that you build is the equivalent of 5 base production in that province. So by finishing this textile manufactory over in Den Haag, we essentially go up to 17 base production without actually being at 17 base production. It is the equivalent of 1 trade good, and every dev click is 0.2% of that trade good, or 20% of a trade good. I'm also going to be starting my golden era. Why not? We might as well do that. And let's go with ship trade power, of course. We need as much trade power as we possibly can get our hands on. Surprisingly, the Venetians are absolutely massive. They have most of North Italy, and they are one of the strongest nations in my particular game. Historically, in the 1600s, the Venetians were indeed extremely powerful, but their power started to diminish the more the Ottomans consolidated their power in the eastern parts of the Mediterranean. And there's literally no chance the Venetians would have been able to get this much of North Italy as they did in our particular game. And it's time for another round of build the Indiaman. Oh, sorry, Kevin. Build Kevin. Look at that, boys. We're getting 0.97 ducats from Bruges alone. One thing that also helps out massively with playing Toll is expanding infrastructure. Expand infrastructure gives you the extra building slot. It lowers the dev cost reduction, lowers the construction time and cost, gives some defensive bonuses as well as trade bonuses, tax bonuses, everything that you can possibly imagine. But of course, it comes at a price because every time you expand infrastructure, it increases the governing cost of that particular province. In our case, we pretty much expanded infrastructure in every single one of our provinces, and we're going to continue to do so as much as we possibly can, since it is an extremely easy way of advancing our economy and our military power by a ton. Oh, the Anglican Church just spawned. The Papal States opinion of England reduced massively, and it seemed like the English decided to go full-on historical and establish their very own church. I'm also going to be expanding the Marines that I have, so I'm going to be building up to max force limit here and complement my armies with some proper, well-trained Marinos, just to show how insane our colonial range is. The second colony, after we just finished over the one in the Gold Coast over here, or better yet in Sierra Leone, is at the tip of South Africa in Xhosa. We could probably colonize these areas, we just haven't explored them yet. But I'm going to be setting this one up here. I already sent the colonist, and I'm going to be sending some of my brave Marinos to make sure there's nobody there. So let's split off 5 of our Indiaman, and let's attach these troopers to the Indiaman so we can send over the Indiaman to the southern bits here of Africa with the units, since like I said before, they're also transport ships. Extremely powerful transport ships. And what do you know, we got one more innovativeness, and in the province of Amsterdam we get transport cost -10 and shipbuilding time -10. Absolutely delicious. And what do you know, education for the poor, of course. One more innovativeness, thank you very much. Let's also set up some of these buildings in our brand new charter company. A property appraiser sounds like the right thing to do. Plus we're going to set up the trade power as well here. Now in the case of Xhosa over here, I'm not going to actually kill off the natives. I'm going to let them stick around, but I'm keeping my units just in case they decide to rebel against me so they don't actually destroy the colony itself, because it does have pretty significant aggressiveness and ferocity over here, meaning that it's very likely the rebels or the natives are going to rebel. Literally, as I just said that, they freaking rebelled. Okay, fair enough. 90% of the times when I get the military reform event pop out, I go for reform only the army because it gives me the military tech cost reduction, morale of armies, military power. However, this is pretty much the only exception because I need diplo points, so I'm going to get the 200 diplo power and morale of navies since we are predominantly a naval power right now and we need as much diplo points as possible. As you probably expected, we also got a claim on Fulo and Kabu because we want to be expanding our influence over into the Ivory Coast properly. So what I mean by this is, I'm attacking the schnaps out of these bastards here, and I'm taking the entirety of the provinces that they have within the Ivory Coast node from both of the countries. Since I got so many military points lying around, I'm also going to be barraging this to make it a little bit quicker. Why not? A mere 126 days and we managed to take over Kabu. Absolutely not surprised to see that Mali got completely wiped out by Fulo and its neighbors. Sadly, the state of Mali right now is absolutely atrocious. It's possible for AI Mali to actually do much of anything. And even some newer players to EU4, if they play as Mali, it is an absolute challenge. Oh, the rebels just took that fortification. If I was one day earlier, I probably could have taken over the siege progress. But this is 100 garrisons, so that means after this tick, since it went down to 99, we're gonna get that fort within just 51 days. There you go, boys. And we also can get the new policies, national manpower plus 20% and colonial development boost plus 1 flat. So we are working our way towards properly attaining colonial hegemony also, not just trade one. Alright, so when it comes to Fulo, we're going for full-on annexation of the coastline. We also managed to get trade power from them and a little bit of money. I could completely wipe out Kabu, but I don't really need those provinces. I just need the 3 ones here. So I'm gonna let them still stick around in one province and let them do their thing, I guess. This is more than enough provinces for me right now. We also managed to do our mission here, charter the West Indies Company because of it, and we're gonna be coring up all of these provinces and of course converting them to the true faith of reform. Oh, we actually even got the Explore Caribbean mission done. That's pretty cool. Now, if we get a colony in North America and Brazil, we get even more settler chance and tariffs and stuff, so we're gonna do that eventually. I'm not prioritizing the New World though. I don't really feel like I want to compete with the already established powers in the New World, and I definitely want to rush for the Spice Islands. Let's also go ahead and add all of these provinces to the trade company by assigning them via the trade node here. It's easier this way, and it's gonna significantly increase our trade power afterwards in this node. We still got to get the coastline over here, especially the trade centers, so I'm gonna have a war against Benin eventually. I'm gonna get a colony in Cameroon, I guess, which means I can get claims on both Benin and Congo after I start colonizing Cameroon. We managed to get 1 extra merchant from the Dutch Guinea Company since we now have the majority of the trade over in the Ivory Coast, I assume. 6.34 ducats are getting sent to our node now compared to 2 over in Sevilla. So Sevilla went down to 27 and we went up to 65 value. And would you look at that, we finally reached 100 ducats profit monthly. Hey, wait, what? We're getting what trade good produced in Cantor? Alright, we can get the claim on Benin, and let's see, Congo, we can get a claim on Congo also. That is great. That means we can now cancel this colony, because honestly, I don't feel like I need to do this colony. It's pretty much irrelevant, since I'm gonna have provinces in Benin and in Congo after the war is done. We can use that colonist in Asia, which is way better than using it in the African bits. And now, because we've established ourselves in Indonesia, we got claims on North Lanka area, which is in Sri Lanka. Historically speaking, Sri Lanka was a part of, it was a Dutch colony, let's face it, for quite a while until the British decided to nab it from them. But hey, now we got the claims, so we can attack them ourselves. That is pretty delicious. We started sending our colonists over to Mentawai, so afterwards we can start attacking the natives over in the Indonesian and Malaccan bits. Speaking of attacking natives, we're ready to go with these bad boys here. Arrivederci Benin, it was nice knowing you, but this is gonna be a fairly easy war. We got guns, my boy, and you still have sticks and stones, alright? It's Barragius Maximus, this fortification, obviously. Economic boon in the Low Countries, a great time to live there. The Low Countries region gets -5 dev cost and construction time. That is amazing. Sounds like we're gonna need to do another dev session after we accrue a little bit more mana points, of course. Oh, speaking of, I'm at 41 power projection. Let's fix that. Now, easiest way to fix it is, of course, to send a scornful insult to the Venetians. Whoa, Benin got super massive here. Benin, the Chad Lord of the region? Is that what's going on here? Am I taking out the Chad Lord of the sub-Saharan parts? Because I really feel like I am. And we can also found the East Indies Company. I'm guessing that's what this means. And we get 1 merchant, trade power, and colonial range. So we got plus 75 colonial range as consequence now, which is pretty significant. Taking their trade power, their money, and that's it. Don't really care about anything else from these boys. And let's assign our new merchant here, as well as let's continue to explore the Asian bits. Let's go with the Arabian Sea for now, actually. Now, the best spot for the merchant would be in Chesapeake Bay. We don't have the range for that, though, because we don't have any cores within this close by. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get a colony just so I can actually start transferring from Chesapeake Bay, but until that point we'll assign our merchant somewhere else. I feel fairly confident that after we take these provinces here, there's gonna be nobody left to challenge us in the Ivory Coast. Let's see how much trade power we got now. 48% of the Ivory Coast is ours. It will grow up to a lot more than that after we fully integrate these bad boys and we build a few more buildings around here as well. Trade company buildings for that matter. Now it refreshed. 61% is our trade power. So we have the majority with the Castilians a little bit as well. 9% afterwards. Hey, we got prospering times in what city? We got it in Hertogenbosch. Hertogenbosch. Obviously, because we're doing a playing toll campaign, we're gonna go for the extra production, 5 extra production and 25 trade power in Hertogenbosch. So now we got 29 here. Oh my freaking lord. This is a paper province as well. That is just insane. So with this marketplace built here, we doubled that down. Let's unpause. So it's 64 now. It's going to be increased by 50% up to, I'm guessing, 90 trade power from one province now. Oh my lord. We can also expand our Kevin fleet up to 60 Kevins because our naval force limit massively increased. So let's go ahead and get up to, say, 200 ships. That should be fairly okay. We can use the extra trade ships to filter in trade from the Asian bits as well as the adjacent nodes. So we don't need to put any more in our main node. 85 is more than enough in my opinion. In order to get more than this, realistically, we would have to take Calais and a few other provinces around. But this is more than okay in my opinion. For now, at least. Oh, dude. Dev cost minus 10% state issue. Of course, we're gonna go for that. And I'm not even gonna read the rest of them. Also, to point out how awesome we are in the Ivory Coast, we already went up to 70% over here. So we're filtering pretty much all of the trade in our node now. And the reason why this is such an important node, by the way, is because all of the African trade eventually ends up either here or in the North African bits around Alexandria and Aleppo. So we don't have much control over that, but we do have control over this, so we can filter in from the Indian parts, namely from the Gujarat and the Coromandel areas, all the trade from the southern bits of Asia towards Europe. I'm also going to be provoking some of these revolts here since I want to use my units in Asia to attack some of the natives in Asia, right? And I need to make sure I don't need to bring them back over here. Before we head on over to Asia, let's also quickly start this war against Congo so we take their coastline, of course. Man, I love playing toll. Seriously, look at that. We're deving these up for almost no mana points. It's already been developed 10 times and it's still just very, very few mana points to keep on deving. Look at this. 60 times developed and 27 mana to keep on developing it. I mean, if that doesn't say absolutely genius, I don't know what does. Same thing in the south. Look at that. 13 times developed and only 23 mana points to keep on improving this. Now, guys, we also could do Interest of Holland. That is going to give us a restoration of union on the British. However, I'm going to wait out with that one. I'm not going to enforce this just yet. I can, but I need to focus on my Asian holdings before actually bringing my armies over to the European continent. I'm also holding out. I can do the next mission as soon as I click this, and that's going to give me 1 extra merchant. So I'm losing 1 extra merchant until I click this, but it's temporary. We'll get it sorted, boys. Don't worry about it. So you want to steer trade towards me, Mayumba? I feel like that's a good deal, bro. Think it would really help out your nation if you gave me all your trade. It's totally something for you, I'm saying, that would help out. Now you guys can start packing up because we're heading on to Asia. Let's core these provinces and of course add them up afterwards to our region. Actually, I'm not going to add this up just yet. I want to convert this first to my religion, since they seem to have some Catholic provinces around, and we cannot have Catholics in Congo, can we now? You might be wondering, how am I able to get 53 power projection? Well, the reason is because I'm privateering the English, which is offering me, as you can see, 8 right now. I can get it up to maximum of 10, and I can get up to 30 by privateering all 3 of my rivals. However, in my case, just having above 50 is more than enough, so I can get the +1 mana points. But just keep note, because I know a lot of people struggle to get above 50 power projection mid to late game. Easiest way, if you have rivals, just send some ships to privateer their trade nodes, and you get 10 from each of your rivals. We've also started colonizing the Spice Islands. After we get Halmera, we can attack Ternate and Tidor. Actually, let's get the claims on those right now. We're gonna vassalize one of them so we can do their mission, which is gonna help us colonize the rest of these areas easier, and then the other one we're of course going to directly annex. As a note, you can only have the cloves, which is the spice of the game, in these highlighted provinces here. No other part of the world. Well, actually, you can also have it in Zanzibar. I lied to you right there, obviously. You can have it in Zanzibar also, but that's it. No other parts of the world. Bro, are you kidding me? The printing press spawned in Unterkarnten. They had 1 manufactory in their whole freaking country, and they get the freaking printing press. I got manufactories in my entire freaking country, and I didn't get it. Come on, man. This is just bad RNG. Okay, well, whatever the case, let's attack these bad boys. Do these guys have any alliances? They got Luwu. Alright, let's attack Luwu and these boys first. Luwu's over here, so that's gonna give us a foothold over in the Makassar area too, or what is it, Sulawesi Island, right? Oh, election in the United Provinces, 416 or 352. I feel like the 352 is better because I need diplo points as much as possible right now. I'm also gonna attack these guys here at the same time, might as well. I don't want to waste my time here with having to swap between islands, going back to this island and going back to the other island and so on. I'm gonna take out both of these cities, and then I'm gonna be attacking their allies in Sulawesi and the one in the Philippines, so I can essentially establish myself all around this entire area. Oh dude, seriously, I got incense in here. I didn't even get cloves. So the way it works is it's a percentage chance that I'm gonna get cloves spawn in these provinces. 60% chance and 10% for incense, right? Which is fairly low when you think about it. Now the question is, do I cancel this and try again so I can get cloves, or do I keep incense in here? I feel like I'm not gonna cancel it. I'm not that desperate. It's fine. If I get 3 cloves from the other provinces, it's more than enough for me. Oh, we also managed to get the land reclamation because we got admin tech 13 in Holland. So again, a lot of dev cost reduction modifiers. Let's go, Uwu Oluwu. Time to destroy your armies. Now, I did not co-belligerate Luwu, but I don't give a schnaps. I'm taking everything they got, obviously. And with Luwu out, it means that Tidor is going to be our first nation annexed. Ternate's going to be the one that we're going to vassalize, because I like their color more, okay? That's literally the only reason why. Oh, dude, seriously, the Tulip Mania. This is a pretty nasty event. It's going to give us either 1 stability hit, and for the next 10 years, unrest, stab cost, and goods produced modifier, or we get 10 inflation. Obviously, the inflation is the easier path, and we're gonna fix that with a little bit of using some of our mana points. The other one would have crushed our economy, to be fair. 25 goods produced modifier reduction is huge. No, you can't run away, Madagascar or Magagadagugu. I'm struggling with these names, okay? You got a problem with that? Doesn't matter anyway, because they're gone. Look, they never existed. Boy. All right, now these boyos, Dutch vassal, and that's pretty much it, really. Give up claims on Netherlands? Yes, please do give up claims on my lands, please. Thank you very much. Too many diplo relations is fixed right now because we got 2 vassals, which means we got strong Duchatenskeins. Do we need to core this up? Or we already started coring it. I was gonna give it to them if we didn't, but we started coring, so pointless to give it to them now. Because we've taken out the other country, they started colonizing Manado, and if we go to our mission tree, we click on their mission tree. After they finish this province, they can get Spice Must Flow event again and again and again. Eventually, they can colonize all of the Spice Islands or most of the Spice Islands. So we don't need to use up our colonists to get these lands. Alright, time to clear out the rest of Sulawesi. Sunda managed to get these 3 provinces from Button and from Makassar, but we're taking ourselves these provinces right now. And we do have stronger ships, so we're going to have naval hegemony over them also. This should consolidate after this main war here, our holding over the entirety of the Malacca and the Moluccas trade nodes. And it's time for a little bit of a barragioski. There you go. Ah, yes, the classic spear versus rifle. Who is going to be the winner? Nobody knows, except it's the rifle. The rifle's the winner, guys. Oh, I've got a bone to pick with the bone. by annexing them, I picked the bone, I guess. There are a ton of super cool events for the Dutch. For example, the House of Elsevier here turns the province of Amsterdam into a paper producing province and increases the goods produced by 0.5 till the end of the game. Oh dude, 96% overextension. That is so freaking close. Thank God we didn't take more provinces. I didn't want to be too greedy. I took the former Majapahit capital here in Surabaya, which is quite a little bit of development together with Demak and everything else around, and it means that now we have our units free for war in the Sumatran bits against Pagaruyung. Now it might be a little bit expensive, but the reality is that chartering some trade companies from the Indian subcontinent is absolutely massive brain. They're not as expensive as you would imagine, and the best part is that it allows us to get a foothold in the Indian bits without having to go to war with these nations. So let's see, what would the price be for the Bengali bits? That would be around 5,300. What about Gujarat? Gujarat is probably a little bit better in my case because Bengal is fairly easy for me to grab a few provinces from since they're really close by as well. 5,700. Boom shakalokos. And with Kambat, we also get a core when we charter that trade company. And check it out, boys. 17 trade power, way more than everything else around. Most of the provinces we could have chartered the company from were 1 to 2 trade power by comparison. It's also build some stuff here, like say trade steering plus 50% building is juicy, as well as the goods produced and the trade power buildings too. And since it's extremely cheap, I'm gonna charter a company over in the Horn of Africa, Kadho being the best province in my opinion, since we get access to both Warsangli as well as Ogaden and even Ajuran over here if we want to expand into those areas. Actually, we even get access to Mara for that matter from the sea tile here. The first province in New Netherlands, as it was historically called, has been established here in Rothenburg apparently. I think I misclicked because I wanted to colonize Manhattan and I clicked the one next to it. But hey, that's a story for another time, okay? Now, because of this being established here, we can also start shipping over trade into the English Channel, or as I like to call it, the Dutch Channel node. So now, check it out, boys. 7.8 is going towards us, not towards the north. As consequence, because of that 7.8, let's check how much money we got trade value in our node. It is up to 115 ducats. By comparison, Sevilla's got only 32 and Genoa only has 41, and with Venice 38. These are the strongest nodes after us, by the way. We just unlocked our 4th idea slot. Of course, we're going for plutocratic. The reason for that is because it offers a lot of great trade things, such as 1 extra merchant, goods produced modifier plus 10%, provincial trade power modifier, and it also offers caravan power and dev cost reduction minus 5%. So it is the absolute chattiest of playing toll ideas. Of course, trade ideas is a must, as are nation. So I was a little bit torn between trade and plutocratic, but we can get the extra merchants that trade would offer from just establishing more trade companies. I actually can do that right now for that matter. There you go. From our Dutch West Indies trade company, we're now getting 64 trade power from just this one trade city here, or a trade company city that is. We can also steal the maps to the North China provinces from the Bruneians, and I just did that. Holy snaps, the Archon is huge. What the F happened here, man? I feel like Wu is the new mandate chat lord, isn't he? No, it's Annam. What? That is indeed surprising. Not gonna lie to you, that is very surprising. A little bit of change of plans. Instead of Pagaruyung, we're attacking Pasai first, since Pasai has weaker alliance sets, and it's easier for me to consolidate the northern bits as consequence. Do I need to go for the full annexation? No, because that would take way too long to fully deal with that. I'm just gonna take most of their provinces, take the money that I can. There you go, 111, 110. Buyas Nokos, get out of here, everybody, because now we are established, boys. We are established. We're gonna be upgrading our trade companies once more. That trade power is gonna come in handy all around the place wherever we have our provinces. We want to start filtering trade from the Malaccas into the European bits. So the way to do that is to have trade ships right now get most of the trade power here. So we're gonna assign these guys to protect trade in the Malacca node. There you go. And our new merchant that's gonna arrive very soon. There you go. He's here already. He's gonna be transferring that trade. So let's go transfer trade. Instead of going over to the Indian bits, it's gonna go over to the Cape of Good Hope, which is gonna in turn transfer this over to the European parts. Hey, it's time for the League War, everybody. Let's go ahead and choose our side as the Protestant boyos. We don't want those scummy Catholics in charge, do we now? One more thing I probably should have mentioned before is that whenever you're developing your provinces, you should enact the stability reform from the Reformed religion, because it offers another -10 dev cost reduction, making it super cheap once more. So for example, let's dev up a little bit more again. It's time for the dev session. 31 development. It's not that great, but it's not that bad either considering everything, right? This is a 27 development province after all. Also, we just got this colonized, so let's bring it up to level 3, which is going to give us an extra settler chance 5% and 25 settlers increase. So we can use it to catch up with the rest of the great powers essentially, right? There you go. Now it's already level 2. We gotta wait for a couple of months to get the money to upgrade it again. But you know what, guys? This is taking a little bit of time. I'm having a lot of fun. I don't want to finish off this run, so if you guys want to see this continued, let me know in the comment section. If we get enough support for it, I definitely will do a final bit for this. So until the next time, check out this awesome Brandenburg run, and thank you especially to all my patrons and channel members. I really wouldn't be able to do this without all your support, guys.